And welcome back to Dietitians Beyond Borders. Today, we're diving into the world of dietetics. In Pakistan, a country with a rich food culture and a rapidly evolving healthcare landscape. Joining me is Michelle, a registered dietitian who was actually born in Pakistan. She currently lives in the United States, who will share insights on the dietetics profession, nutrition trends, as much as she knows and as much as research she's done recently about, health food with the Pakistani culture. Welcome, Michelle. Can you start by telling us about your journey into dietetics and the work you do?
Thank you, Jen, for the introduction. I am, like you mentioned, a registered dietitian. I have a background in biology as well. That was what my bachelor's was in. And then for grad school, I went to Rutgers, did clinical nutrition at Rutgers. I also have a private practice, which is called Eat Mostly Greens. It's a telehealth private practice that is focused on providing a medical nutrition therapy to the South Asian population. And I have also worked in the clinical setting for the last 2 years, where I was working with children and adolescents who have mental health disorders in New Jersey as well. How I got into the field of nutrition and dietetics primarily revolves around my community. There is a lack of education when it comes to preventative medicine. Most of the individuals who enter the field of health and nutrition primarily go into medicine and become physicians. And as we know, as dietitians, physicians are great, but the knowledge that they have when it comes to nutrition is quite limited. And I saw that gap. And I wanted to fill that gap, and I wanted to use the language that is spoken in South Asian countries, which is Urdu or Hindi. And I wanted to use that language to provide care to these individuals because most of them do not understand English very well. And when we provide MNT in the language that is easily understandable for these populations, it is easier for them, of course, to implement those changes and to bring about a positive health outcome.
This is incredible, Michelle. Truly, I met you right in a very very interesting way through Rutgers. Thank you, Rutgers. And you've I've been fascinated by the work that you do since day one. And it's just amazing how even though you're in the United States, I mean, yes, you're focusing on working with a lot of, patient population from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, you name it, but as well helping your culture, focusing on this patient population, especially that maybe there isn't enough of, support on that. You're doing amazing, amazing things.
Thank
So
you.
I'm so excited for this podcast. I'm so excited, for people to get to know you, get to know what you know, and kind of share, more information about, nutrition and culture, especially in the South Asian patient population, which is excellent. So again, I know, and I need to stress that you're here and you did your, education here, but still you did your oh God, a bit of research and learning more about kind of, as a dietitian, if somebody wants to become a dietitian in Pakistan, what are the steps? Do they need a credential? Is there a credential for it? Yeah, I would love to hear more about that.
So we do have a Pakistani Nutrition and Dietetics Society. It is independent. It's an independent platform that is not affiliated with the government. And to become a registered dietitian through that society, you need 2 years of practical experience, along with, of course, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree now. And after you do your 2 years of experience, which is a lot like our dietetic internship over here, except that for us, it's 90% of the time in a year. But over there, it's for 2 years. And after that 2 years of practical experience, then you have to sit for the exam. And of course, once you pass that exam, you acquire the credentialing to become a registered dietitian. I believe when I was doing some research, there's also an option of becoming a registered nutritionist, which I don't think the US has, where you need a bachelor's degree and just 1 year of practical experience. And then you can sit down for the exam. And that's another way to become a registered nutritionist.
Okay. Hey, this is amazing. You see, guys, we learn and learn and learn, and look at that. I mean, and as you know, here in the US, right, Michelle, where when we say nutritionists, usually they're not licensed. Usually anybody can be a nutritionist, but
Yeah.
not anybody can be a dietitian. So it's so interesting to see how, like, in another country, they do have two licensed different, and I'm sure every single, licensure entails other tasks and other responsibilities, which is honestly beautiful. Very good. How is the role of dietitians perceived in healthcare and public health, based on what you know?
Specifically in Pakistan, I would say it is very much like the US. Recently, of course, like in the US, the field of nutrition is getting more recognition, and we are really coming up front as a nutrition experts, and people are getting to know what a registered dietitian is as more of us are getting into the field. And now with a master's being mandatory, I feel like it has really pushed us forward, and we've stood our ground that, you know what, we really are the experts. And I would say it's very similar in Pakistan as well. Majority of the people are unaware of the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian there as well. And many people, just like any other country, would think that a doctor, an MD, a medical doctor, physician is the primary person for all kinds of advice, even nutrition advice. But recently now with more people coming on and acquiring this field and really, showing that we are the experts, it's gaining more recognition even in Pakistan.
That's amazing. And we need more of that all over the world.
Long way to go, yeah.
Actually, you said it. Yes, people rely on doctors a lot. I
Mhm.
think more than, more than usual.
Yeah,
And it's right, because they've done their, studying experience, years of working to get to where they are, and
yeah,
it's amazing. However, every specialty is known for their specialty.
right.
Cardiologist works, with everything in regards to heart and all of that. Diabetes, same thing. So once they start speaking about, nutrition, it's super limited. I think they get like one course of nutrition, right,
Yeah,
throughout their whole 15
yeah,
years. So yeah, that's why it's very good to have more recognition and more value, and yeah, hope for the
absolutely.
best. Yeah, good. As someone who provides MNT for patients in the US, and also, with the Southeast, patient population, what challenges do you encounter? Kind of having a bit of difference. Do you see any difference actually?
Yeah, very much. So because the private practice is almost 100% South Asian and then 90% South Asian women, we see a ton of differences. So primarily the diet, right? Just like in the US, most people are familiar with, let's say, Hispanic or more Mexican diet. So, you can tell how different their food is and, how their culture is and how they eat. Similarly, for Pakistan, it's a lot of curries and flatbreads, and there's a high emphasis on using, let's say, carbs, fried carbs and fried food, and a lot of processed food. Even right now in Ramadan, where the point should be abstaining from food and drink and just trying to cleanse your system, whereas it's a little bit on the flip where, it's just a lot of celebration and a lot of food and a lot of sweets and processed foods. Thanks to the plate method, and the plate method is just so versatile, and that's what I primarily use with many of my patients and clients, where we try to fit our macros, so our flatbreads or our rice and things like that, in a way that it's balanced for these people. Our diets are, of course, they're rich in it really, honestly, I would not say that the diet itself is, I don't think any cultural or ethnic diet in its essence is unhealthy. It's just when we add things into it and try to enhance it a little too much is when things go south, right? So I would just say that even though there's a lot of curries and flatbreads, there's a way to eat them to balance them out and to eat them well, just like any other ethnic diet, in my opinion, when followed right, can be a healthy and can be a medicinal way of consuming your food.
Exactly, 100%. And actually, you kind of answered my following question, which is wonderful, about how truly, like Pakistan has such a diverse and like flavorful food. And especially now during Ramadan, I mean, oh, I love iftars. Iftars are the best, It's such a beautiful, cuisine with just a mix of flavors, mix of food. And as you mentioned, the My Plate works tremendously well if we can obviously follow it properly. Now, this is a very side question, and especially, during the blessed Ramadan season. For the fasting situation, how does that entail for somebody who's trying to stay healthy, stay on track kind of, and not overeat, right? Because there's a tendency when you're abstaining from food for like 16 hours.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts briefly?
I would say so in my private practice we actually have a very special Ramadan only program as well, because Ramadan is a great time where you are technically intermittent fasting. There's you're abstaining for food from food and drink, and one if one decides to make the right choices in the eating windows, which are quite small, it is easier in fact to eat healthy, not necessarily lose weight, but also just eat healthier. And the fasting really disciplines one, because before Ramadan starts, I can talk for myself. I get a little stressed out because I'm a caffeine addict. So I'm like, how am I gonna operate? But then it comes by, and the first 2 days are tough. But then after that, you're like, wow, the body is so amazing. The body adapts to whatever stresses you put it through. And now, I mean, I'm sitting here doing a podcast and there's no food and drink for the next like 7, 8 hours. And even before this, the last 6, 7 hours, and the body adapts. The body is amazing. So I would say for somebody who is trying to eat healthier during Ramadan fasting, try to make healthier choices. But in terms of, I know there's a lot of festive food, and I love festive food, but pick one or two things that you're gonna make for your family, and then just jump to dinner. Just have a dinner, have a proper, well balanced, high fiber, high protein, colorful dinner, and that is really what's going to satisfy you, because yes, those festive foods are great, but most of them are like appetizers, and most of them are just, a bit of flavor and spice on the mouth for a couple of minutes. But the dinner is really what is going to satisfy someone. And then, of course, a great focus on hydration and electrolytes during the eating window. So try to hydrate yourself the whole night. Drink as much water as you can, because that is going to help sustain the rest of the day.
Great. Are there any significant public health concerns related to nutrition in Pakistan? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a dual burden of malnutrition and overnutrition in our country, and approximately, very unfortunate, 40% of children are stunted and 17% are wasted. And there is a critical level of undernutrition, malnutrition in the country, especially with the pediatric population, which is extremely, extremely sad. And then on the flip side of it, approximately 22% of individuals over the age of 15 in Pakistan are obese. So there is this huge gap where you see the malnutrition, but then you also see the overnutrition. And this is a reference from 2011, Al Khan University, which is one of the top medical facilities in the country.
Wow. Wow, that is incredible. I mean, it's incredibly sad. I had no idea. And how would we know, right? Unless like, we're in it, we're dealing with this patient population. This is so I'm not sure if you know anybody who works there in healthcare in general. Um, how are they dealing with this? How I mean, as much as they can, right? But what interventions are they providing, if you know any, and if not, don't worry about it.
I know, of course, quite a few people who are in healthcare and who are physicians. I know very few people who are in um, I know very few people who are in the field of nutrition who are actually working at the ground level. Many of them are actually working as nutritionists for weight loss or the elite, but very few. But there are, of course, a great amount of NGOs that are working at the ground level to provide nutrition. But of course, because the country does not have enough resources, many times, unfortunately, the pediatric population is what gets affected. I think just bringing awareness about this for the children in Pakistan and raising funds for children all over the world, especially those in countries that are don't have resources as much as we see, would be a great start for the children over there.
Yeah, and especially that they're children, especially that, I mean, they are, um, they will be our, like the next generations, and they will be taking over right soon. So if they are, while they're younger, they're dealing with a lot of nutritional, challenges,
Yeah.
that's going to affect, the health. And as we know that it truly, food is medicine. Food is medicine. So wow, this is incredible. Oh God. But that's great. Nonprofits also are a huge thing in Lebanon, especially, those that are supported internationally, like WHO, USAID, all of those definitely help you, beyond the UN,
Mhm.
right? They help a lot, and I hope they will keep on doing, God's work for sure, for sure. Now, lastly,
Yeah.
um, what opportunities do you see happening, whether dietitians all over the world, but let's focus maybe on the US, and especially those, who work with also South Asian populations? What opportunities do you see, like, do you see coming? What maybe doors, you guys are gonna be opening? And of course, nothing comes easy, but what are your, what's your opinion about it?
I can start with my own experience and then we can open it up a little bit. With social media, it is endless, right? That we have so much reach now and to bring awareness and about not only the field of nutrition, but also just the South Asian diet, stats like the one that we talked about, malnutrition in the country. And of course, we can bring about workshops, come on TVs, through private practice, online consultations, providing plans, helping people out. So really through social media, I think there's a huge reach and a great amount of opportunity for individuals who are entering into the field. And I can tell you as somebody who is on social media, when I see someone great making authentic, good content with great credentials, who is speaking the language or coming from a South Asian background, I support that person and I have experienced that support from others as well. They've welcomed me in, shared my content, shared and mostly shared them with their parents because the parents will understand the language better. And then in terms of again tying South Asian with the opportunities that we have, I think policy making is a huge one these days because standing up for minorities or immigrants in the country, and it's people like us who have immigrated or who are children of immigrants going into policy making, bringing about more light into the field of how immigrants, how difficult it is to assimilate and to really, have your food and then also have food of, the country and kind of just mix it together. Um, Not being ashamed of our food and our diet, I think it all ties into corporate wellness and policy making and making it easier for these individuals to follow their diets and love their diets. And lastly, of course, there's so much research now. And that is one of the reasons that, I want to pursue a doctorate in the future. Research opportunities that not only just focusing on the population, such as, okay, what are the main problems in the South Asian culture? Why are, for example, vitamin D levels the lowest in South Asians? Why? Even though we have great sun exposure in most of our our country. So I feel like research is a great field, and again, a huge opportunity for people to get into who are coming into dietetics.
Excellent, excellent, definitely. And the last one, for sure, whether research or even as you mentioned, social media, it's the big thing. And we need actually, in my opinion, more dietitians who are, focused on social media, because there are so many out there who are not
Yeah,
credentialed, right? So many who are
absolutely.
influencers, so many who are just doing it
Yeah.
to make money.
Yep.
And actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, we spoke about that also with other dietitians, and they have been dealing with the same struggle, getting their clients and patients to actually listen to them and not to God knows who.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are all good opportunities for growth, and just putting our foot down there, right? And just saying, hey, like, we're here, we're
Yeah.
going to help you, we're going to love you, and we're going to do anything it takes to keep you healthier and keep you stronger.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right.
What advice would you give to dietitians or aspiring nutrition professionals, just all over the world?
So anybody who is coming into this field, I would say number one, it's an ever growing, it's a great field. There is just so much potential, and you will be recognized for whatever you bring in. It's a field that it's a very happy, open field, and we will celebrate you for what you bring in. And just try to sit with yourself and think, what can I contribute that is going to not only make me happy, but also make others and provide back to others. And for me, for example, it is I took upon the different how I am different from other people who are in this field, and and I celebrated that background rather than pushing it down and hiding it. I use my language, and the support that I get from the people is amazing. So really think about what is different about you. What can you bring to the table? And it's a loving field. Everybody in this field will embrace you and love you for who you are. And I would say, just come into it with an open mindset. There's so many different avenues. It's not just clinical. I know a lot of people go into clinical, and I love clinical work, but there is so much now. You can go into policy, you can go into doctorates, into research, the government jobs. There is so much. And so just come with an open mind and you will find your way.
Wow. It's like you took the words out of my mouth, honestly. You have no idea how much I agree with what you said. And especially living in the US, such a huge melting pot, right? So many cultures, so many diversities. And sometimes patients need to be heard, they need to be
Yeah.
seen. And with all due respect to everybody, once you connect with your patient, coming
Mhm.
from a very similar background, eating similar foods, cultures, traditions, religion, right?
Mhm.
All of this entail a huge part of ourselves, and we connect with them in a different way. I mean, I can tell you, even at the cancer center in my job, the way how I speak to somebody from Egypt or Syria or Jordan, I feel like they're like my parents or somebody
Mhm.
like from home, like family.
Yeah.
Automatically, I don't know them, I don't know anything about them, but automatically you can help them, and they get so relieved that when they talk to you, there's that amazing connection. So,
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And because a lot of the people that we represent are from minority backgrounds. And when they come into the office, they're already scared because they don't know the language. Many of them are from underprivileged backgrounds because a lot of immigrants and minorities, it takes time to build up to that position where they are. And so when we talk to them in a comfortable manner, where we're like, you can eat your own cultural food, you can eat the roti and the curries and all of those things and still be healthy. And when we make them feel comfortable, it's a different kind of satisfaction as a healthcare provider.
oh yes, definitely, 100%. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing your experiences and expertise to our listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share. Until next time, stay curious, stay nourished, and keep exploring nutrition beyond borders. Thank you.
Thank you.